So let's just start with our feet hip width apart, finding that space where the weight is through your feet, so equally weighted between the big toe joint, the little toe joint and the heel, those 3 triangles on both feet, and just take a little rock forwards and backwards. And then we're going to go side to side. So while I'm doing this and thinking about this, I'm thinking about standing up as tall as possible, getting a lovely length in my spine. And then here's our first circular shape. Just taking the weight round, thinking about that plumb line. If you place one hand on your upper chest, one hand on your lower tummy, maybe up there, and think about that straight line. And if there was a plumb line to fall down, this is a circle that that plumb line is making on the floor. And then maybe changing direction. Standing up, really nice and tall, circling around. And then let's just release the arms and just see if you can just move your hips. And pretty much only the hips in a circular direction. So I'm sort of keeping my rib cage and my arms heavy. Ankles are just moving, going with the movement, that's fine. The weight is staying fairly central between both feet, but it's sort of going to the outside and inside edge of the feet a little bit, and then change direction. So we're just exploring really where we're moving from. So I can feel bit of movement going around at those lower ribs, in the hip joint, in the pelvis, ankles, and then see if you can keep the hips fairly still, the legs fairly still, and do the same thing with the rib cage. Whoopsie. And don't worry if this makes you come off of balance, it's quite subtle actually. Not very big movements, but I'm just trying to isolate. I'm just waking up all the muscles around the spine and just in general really. Hopefully that will feel quite nice. Let's take the feet a little bit wider, insteps parallel, and taking a great big circle, outward circle, crossing the arms over in front, up to the ceiling, and then allowing the arms to drop down by your side with your palms up. So breath in and a breath out. So perfectly natural breathing. Breath in, breath out. Let's do the same movement, the same circle, same circular direction, but change the breathing round. So breath in at the bottom, breath out as your arms are up at the highest point. Breath in as they lower, growing taller. Breath in. Out even, oh, breath in, I think it's going to be a little bit like that today, class, this evening. Breath out as you go up, breath in as you lower, breath out. And it is one of those things, the moment you lose concentration, you'll go back to normal breathing. Let's change direction, let's take a breath in here, and then breath out, breath in, breath out. So my goal, what I want you to try and achieve, is getting those ribs drawing down, the shoulders drawing down as you're taking those arms up, because you're breathing out. And then when you're breathing in and the arms are lowering, you're lengthening the spine. So I've lost my track completely. Let's do a couple more. Breath in here, breath out. Well done if you kept going. Breath in, breath out. One more for luck. Breath in and breath out, and releasing those arms. Great. Let's take some elbow circles backwards. So the circle here, and where I want you to focus on, is the circle that you're making at your elbow. Imagine you've got a big neon bright yellow sticker on your elbows, and it's the circle, it's the shape that size of that circle of your elbow. And as you're doing that, we are trying to just allowing the rib cage to shift forwards and backwards. Great big circle, and then hopefully that's warmed everything up enough to take whole arm, nice and relaxed, circles up and back, mobilising that shoulder joint, allowing the rib cage to move. We're going to get a little bit of noise as someone delivers something. He's gone off now. So the goal here is to get that rib cage shifting forwards and backwards. I'm going to step forwards a little bit just so that I don't hit the wall behind me. Same thing with the arms, taking a nice big circle. And imagine this circle is like, it's a vertical circle. So I'm tracing my arm up the front. It's going up above my head. It's going all the way down and back behind me as the other one does the same. And in order to let that happen, I have to open up shoulders, hips and ankles. But the spine, the plumb line is still beautifully vertical. There's no shifting from side to side. And then let's take the same thing going forwards. Maybe feeling lots of clunking and crunching going on. Hopefully it's all just helping to loosen up a little bit, which is what we want to do when we're first back with our classes. Let's go to some reaches up. So feet are wide again, insteps are parallel, we're looking up, we're trying to touch the ceiling, lifting the rib cage off of the hips. And then let's let one arm drop and just gently sweep the arms around at the side for a side bend. Breathing in as you come through the centre, out as you go around. And imagine this circle that we're drawing with both hands. So I've just had the image of a gymnast. You know those great big circular gymnast rings where they sort of do it, they can do they're in a star shape and they're rolling around on the floor, that sort of thing. It's like you're touching the edges of that as you're going round from side to side with your arms. Let's leave one at the top and then imagine you've got a paint in this top hand. You're going to circle around, little knee bend, let the head relax down, swap over the paint into the other hand and draw the rest of the circle on the other side. Over to the side, relax down, to the other side and coming up. And again, a few more of these. Relax and bend your knees and let your head hang as much or as little as you like. I'm going to go a little bit deeper for the last 4 and just brush my fingertips to the floor. There's a good rhyme. 2 more, all the way down and coming up the other side, making sure that you're breathing and just relaxing in between those stretches. Good, let's take some one leg stand work. It's nothing too heavy today. Yes, all a bit more about mobilising. So standing on the one leg, let's get the ankle circling. The foot circling at the ankle, let's add to that. Hands circling at the wrists. Try and check that everything else is staying fairly still. Your tissue box is square to your front. Change direction. And you're trying to keep the arms just hanging and the leg fairly still, even though it's quite hard work holding the leg in the air. Just to isolate and only move from those joints. And we're going to stay on the same leg. I'm going to turn sideways, but you can stay exactly where you are. And we're going to think about taking a circle, a cycling action with this foot. So I can see in the mirror the shape I'm making with my foot, or the circle I'm drawing. Again, imagine if you had a sticker on your ankle bone. Think about that shape. My other leg is sort of cutting the circle in half, if you like. So I'm taking the foot equally back as I am bringing it in front. This is relatively easy. I'm sort of lifting the foot to the height of my other knee. It's all nice and even. And then now let's get a bit bigger and add the arms, taking that great big circle. So now we are challenging quite a lot, significantly actually. And ideally, as you bring that knee forwards, the opposite arm comes over. If you can coordinate that. If that's all too much, don't worry. If this is too much on the arms, maybe keep your hands on your shoulders and just circle the elbows, but get that nice bit of movement in the upper body, opposite direction to the legs. Standing work is starting to feel a little bit challenged now, which I quite like. And I'm breathing. Just gonna let that relax. Good, give that a shake off. Okay, on to the other side. So, starting preferably with your feet together, everything is in good alignment. Getting the ankle going first. Standing up really nice and tall. And then circling at the wrists. And changing direction. Noticing your balance. Straight leg on that standing leg if you can. Keeping both sides of the waist even. Always trying to stand up nice and tall. Just going to change direction again. Maybe adding on this time some finger twiddles as well. And maybe some toe twiddles, but that might be a bit much. Good, I'm going to go slightly sideways and think about the shape of this new circle, the circle at my ankle bone, the circle in space that's drawing. And noticing that this is relatively easy, this level of movement in my hip joint. Hopefully it is for you as well. If it's not, if it's uncomfortable, or you feel that you can't lift the leg up very much, then maybe that's something you need to work on a little bit. Always good to work on the one leg standing balance. And then let's add those arms. So the whole arm. And now my circle naturally has turned into a bit of a sort of oblong shape. Quite sure what it is. But because I'm now focusing more on taking a bigger movement with this leg, because I'm aiming to sort of get that knee towards that opposite arm as it comes over. Hips are facing forwards. I'm allowing my shoulders, and this is what makes it quite hard work, to rotate. It's a natural movement, but I'm working quite hard because my hips are staying still. I'm having to take all of the rotation in that upper body only. My standing leg is pretty much straight, and again can feel some good work going on in those glutes. Whew. Great, okay, and relax. Same sort of thing, as in thinking about the shape. We're going to draw a figure of 8 on the floor. And I'm going to stand on the edge of my mat here. I might go over here a little bit actually so you can see. The figure of 8 is here. So, and the crossing over of the two circles is at my other foot. So I'm going to stand on my weaker leg for one leg stand. So then my first leg just now. I'm going to draw my first circle with my toe on the floor, and I'm going to draw, it's in front of this foot. So my crossover point is at the edge of my mat, if you like. So you're there. And then the second circle, the other half of the figure of 8, I'm going to draw it behind that foot. And each time I come through that crossing over point, I'm going to just brush my standing leg. And now I'm just going to explore. So I'm just drawing that circle, the figure of 8, the two circles next to each other on the floor, trying to keep an equal circle front and back. And I'm just letting my hips now go with the movement. So the hips are helping. So this is actually really good for the standing hip. So the standing hip is getting lots of lubrication, if you like, in that joint. Now, here's the thing. This is the slight brain teaser, is to reverse the direction of your figure of 8. So keep it on the floor. So I was naturally going outwards for that front one. Now I'm going to go inwards and then outwards at the back. And this will feel really weird. And you might find yourself just naturally going back to the original direction. That's absolutely fine. But what's also helping me is the hip on the same side as the moving leg is going with me a little bit. It's going with me quite a lot actually. My circles aren't as even as they were on the natural way. There's some lovely rolling, rocking and rolling about going on this standing ankle. Oh, I think I just did that the wrong way. So there and there's it. And again, I'm starting to feel some work on that buttock. Ooh, I'm going to give it a little bit of a shake. Great, all on the other side. So the natural way, having your foot, so just mark a point, or just maybe look down, see where that crossing over of the 2 points are, and you're just going to touch your other foot. Take the circle equal in front as behind, and just naturally allow the hips to go. So my standing leg is fairly straight, the knee is slightly soft, just to allow this hip joint to move quite freely. And you might find that your upper body sort of goes in the opposite direction. It feels a bit salsa-y if you're into salsa dancing. And again, standing ankle, rocking and rolling from side to side, but that's all good. Keeping it all awake. All of these chops and changes. This standing hip is working to support you, basically supporting all the weight whilst you test all of that. So I'm going to change my direction. So my natural direction is to go outwards. I'm going to go inwards and then in the other direction at the back. And this feels really uncoordinated in the sense of what goes on with the upper body as well for me. So now I'm finding, till I find the rhythm maybe, that I'm keeping my shoulders fairly square this time. Oh yeah, getting into it a bit more now. So like everything, once you do, the first time you try and do something that's very different and unnatural, your brain has to work really hard, and the more you do it and the more natural it becomes, the clearer that pathway gets and the faster the reactions are, and then that's what makes us really coordinated, makes movement smooth. Keeping going if you can. Brilliant. Okay, give those legs a little bit of a shake. Brilliant. Okay, good job. We are looking at upper body and the whole spine, the shape of the whole spine. I'm going to turn sideways. Feet are fairly hip width apart, maybe slightly wider than hip width apart. Elbows are forwards. I'm just going to push my head into my hands and lift my chest up to the ceiling and then return to a neutral position. So lifting up, I'm trying to create a little curve, extra curve in that upper back. I call this a chest pop. So I'm lifting the chest up to the ceiling. I'm applying pressure, the back of my head is pushing into my hands. So there's none of this going on with the head. It's that pressure is there, the elbows lift, hips stay still. So let's take that from there into an abdominal curl position. So now taking the curve in the other direction. So I'm sort of making a crease at the front of my ribs and then a crease at the back. Coming through a neutral position, no crease, crease at the front, neutral, crease at the back, neutral. Then let's go, I'm going to face forwards a moment, so we're going to go all the way around. So we're going to crease at the back, we're going to crease at the side, taking it round, so now we're creating our circle forwards, round to the other side and to the back. Change direction. Crease at the side, crease at the front of the ribs, crease at the other side. So facing your front all the time. What I mean by that is I'm not turning to the corner when I'm going round to the side. And changing direction, let's do a couple more. Keep breathing, but keep that head pushing into the hands. Last one. Taking, so an upper body roll around is what I call that one. Brilliant, so that's mobilising upper back. Let's take that on into the whole spine. So I'm going to go wider with my feet. We're going to take the chest lift, we're looking up, we're sticking the bottom out, arching the back, finding the legs with the hands so that you can support, relax the head all the way down, tuck the pelvis under, roll up in the opposite direction. So this is a chest lift or a chest pop, followed by an unravelling of your spine, and then it's a back lift. That upper back lifts you back up. You strongly tuck the pelvis under, pull your belly button in, unravel the vertebrae one by one. So 2 more of those. Lift the chest, stick the bottom out. Make sure the knees are going over the toes. No knees collapsing in. Relax the head fully, leave the head till very last when you come back up. Great job.